Why letting go doesn't mean do nothing. The action paradox. Right, I need to address something because my last video about everything you seek is seeking you absolutely took off. Nearly 100,000 views. And the comments section is full of the same question over and over again. People are asking, but if I let go, does that mean I do nothing? Do I just sit there and wait for things to happen? And I get it because there's this massive misconception out there that letting go means becoming passive, that giving up the need means giving up action. But that's not what letting go means at all. Letting go doesn't mean do nothing. It means do the right things for the right reasons. Let me explain the difference because this is where most people get stuck. When you are in a state of need, when you're desperate, when you're forcing, when you're chasing, your actions come from fear. You're acting from a place of, I don't have this. I need to get this. I must make this happen. But when you let go of the need, when you trust that what you want is already yours, your actions come from inspiration. You're acting from a place of, I'm being guided to do this. This feels right. This is the next step. The difference is massive. Desperate action repels, inspired action attracts. Let me give you a perfect example. Say you want to buy a house. You've been dreaming about it. You know exactly what you want, but you're desperate to make it happen. When you're desperate, what do? You obsessively scroll through property websites at 2 a.m. You call estate agents 10 times a day. You go to viewings for houses you can't afford, just to feel like you're doing something. You compromise on everything because you need a house, any house, right now. And what happens? Nothing. Or worse, you end up with the wrong house because you were acting from desperation rather than inspiration. But when you let go of the need, when you trust that your perfect house is coming, everything changes. You still take action, but now your actions are inspired. You feel guided to drive down a certain street, and there's a for sale sign that went up that morning. You have a random conversation with someone who mentions they're thinking of selling. You get a sudden urge to check a property website you've never looked at before. The actions feel different. They feel easy. They feel right. They feel guided. This is the paradox of letting go. When you stop desperately chasing, you become more intuitive. When you stop forcing, you start receiving guidance. When you stop needing to control everything, you become more attuned to the subtle nudges from the universe. Letting go doesn't make you passive, it makes you receptive. And when you're receptive, you catch the inspired actions that actually lead to your desires. Think about it this way. When you're desperate, you're like someone trying to tune into a radio station, but the frequency is all wrong. You're getting static, interference, mixed signals. You can't hear the music clearly, but when you let go of the desperation, suddenly you're perfectly tuned in. The signal is clear. The guidance is obvious. The next step is apparent. The universe is always trying to guide you towards your desires. But if you're too busy forcing and controlling and panicking, you can't hear the guidance. You miss the synchronicities. You ignore the intuitive nudges. When you let go, you create space for inspiration to flow. You become available for guidance. You notice the signs you were missing when you were too busy chasing. Here's what inspired action looks like versus desperate action. Desperate action feels hard, forced, exhausting. You're pushing against resistance. You're trying to make things happen through sheer willpower. Inspired action feels easy, natural, energizing. You're moving with the flow. You're allowing things to unfold whilst taking the steps you're guided to take. Desperate action comes from your head, your fears, your timelines, your need to control. Inspired action comes from your intuition, your inner knowing, your connection to source, your trust in the process. With the house example, desperate action might be calling every estate agent in the city, booking viewings for houses you can't afford, or settling for something that doesn't feel right because you're tired of looking. Inspired action might be feeling drawn to explore a new area, having a conversation with a neighbour about the local property market, or getting a sudden urge to drive past a house you've always loved. The key is learning to tell the difference. And here's how you know. If the action feels forced, if you're doing it because you think you should, if it's exhausting you, if you're trying to control the outcome, that's desperate action. If the action feels natural, if you're doing it because you feel guided to, if it energizes you, if you're trusting the process, that's inspired action. Letting go doesn't mean you become a passenger in your own life. It means you become a co-creator with the universe. You do your part, but you trust the universe to do its part too. You plant the seeds, but you don't dig them up every day to check if they're growing. You water them, you tend to them, but you trust the process of growth. This is what letting go actually means. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things with the right energy. It's about taking inspired action rather than desperate action. So yes, you still take action, but now your actions are guided by intuition rather than desperation. They are inspired by trust rather than fear. They are energized by knowing rather than needing. When you let go of the need, you don't become passive, you become powerful, because now you're working with the universe rather than against it. You're allowing your desires to come to you while still doing your part to meet them halfway. The universe wants to give you everything you desire, but it can only guide you to it if you're listening. And you can only listen if you're not too busy forcing and controlling and panicking. Let go of the need, trust the process, listen for the guidance, take inspired action, and watch how much easier and faster your manifestations become. Because when you stop chasing your desires and start allowing them, when you stop forcing and start flowing, when you stop needing and start trusting, that's when the magic happens. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonates, drop a comment with any epiphanies. And remember, what you seek is seeking you. Time to let yourself be found. These videos are made as a guide to help you reconnect with knowledge kept within you. Take what resonates within you and release the rest. Follow the page for more content and sign up for the Patreon for the opportunity to ask more personal questions and also hear longer form answers to all the biggest questions. Until next time, keep being amazing, and we shall see you soon.